Welcome everybody to Street Apologist Live. What's up, y'all? My name is Vocab Malone. I'm your host of Street Apologist, where we look into the I just messed up. Where we serve the underserved and look into the overlooked. That's right, Street Apologists. We serve the underserved and look into the overlooked. An example of that right now is our Doctrine for the Black Urban Apologetics Conference. Let me play the 45-second teaser for that real quick. Make sure you guys know about that. I want to let you guys see this real quick, and then we're going to get this event underway. But attend if you can. It's only 1 month away.
But as for you, teach what accords with sound doctrine. Show yourself in all respects to be a model of good works, and in your teaching show integrity, dignity, and sound speech that cannot be condemned. With sound doctrine. With sound doctrine. With sound doctrine.
All right, today's topic is, am I a former Muslim? Or perhaps even more pernicious, am I a current Muslim? As in right now, am I actually secretly a Muslim who is parading or masquerading as a Christian, specifically a Christian apologist? What is the truth? Well, we're going to find out. Today's Monday, January 6, 2019. It's almost 9:10 here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I know we're getting started later than people on the East Coast might like, but that's to accommodate one of our guests later today. It's to accommodate his schedule. The brother actually works a job that gets out East Coast time at midnight. So then I'm going to bring him on. And I think it'll be very fascinating to have him join us, as he's an eyewitness to some of the events we're going to be discussing. What are we discussing? As I mentioned, the question is, am I a former Muslim? An ex-Muslim? Or perhaps even now secretly, currently, I might be a Muslim right now. In the words of one Hebrew Israelite, perhaps I'm practicing Chrislam. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Just a minute, I got to talk to the dog. Justice, you got to be quiet if you're going to stay in here. You can't snore that loud. That's way too loud. Go up on the couch. Man, he is really distracting with this. So anyways, you guys know Justice. I had to have a little conversation with him. There he is. You can see him there. He's an apologist's best friend. Now, you're looking on the cover image of my screen, of the screen right now. And you'll see that I do not have a beard in this picture. And so I'm not really truly practicing Sunnah. But I do have Middle Eastern garb. It's not even really kind of Muslim garb per se. It's just kind of Middle Eastern garb, you know. And, you can see it right there. Now I've made it smaller. I just wanted to have that on the screen right there. Kind of a little placeholder. And I put there, trying to be provocative, but really this show tonight wasn't my doing. Now I'm a Calvinist, so nothing's my doing. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm sorry. Some of you guys don't appreciate jokes like that. Well, I'm sorry, you're not gonna like this show. So anyways, there's as some of you know, we got a Hebrew Israelite author named Dante 400 Years Fortson. Dante 400 Years Fortson said today on his broadcast, and this is probably the 20th time I've heard him repeat this claim, in some variation, is that I'm almost certainly a Muslim. And let's talk about this picture here, and we'll start by explaining that. Now, guys, I've got you. I'm looking at the live chat. I'm seeing you right here in the live chat, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna interact with some comments tonight. All right, And so that's a real picture of me. Now, what's it from? Where did I pull that from? Well, believe it or not, you guys know Jeff Cran. He's our Messianic Jewish brother, Christian. You know, he's a believer in Jesus as Messiah. And I actually had asked him, hey, do you have access to that picture? This picture. And he said, yeah. So I went to his Facebook page today and pulled it off there. Now, what was going on with that? Well, for a number of years, I occasionally flew out to the LA area to do something at a place called Calvary Chapel, Anaheim. Now, I didn't only do stuff there, but that's a large part of where a lot of the events happened that I was involved with in the LA area. And actually, this picture that you see on your screen, I have the cover image, it's real small down there. Can you guys believe it or not? Guess where that picture was taken? That picture was taken at Mike Winger's church. This is before I knew Mike. I had never ever heard of him. But the Hosanna Church there, if you know anything about downtown Bellflower, which is in the LA area, we were at that church for this particular event. What is the event? The event was a dinner. Now, they did a spaghetti dinner, and, there was no Italians involved with the pasta dinner. It turned out okay. I'm not going to say anything racist against non-Italians trying to cook Italian food, but, whatever, it is what it is. They did their best. God bless their hearts. Anyways, so this dinner was like for people who were supporters of a group called Ministry to Muslims. And at that, part of what they wanted to do was a training. And so the training was myself as a Muslim named Jamar Sadat. Now, with Jamar Sadat, the way I came up with that name was twofold. I took Lord Jamar, because he was, a Nation of the Gods and Earth member from back in the day with Brand Nubian. And so that stuck on my mind. And also it sounded like my real name, John Mark. So I always liked the name Jamar. Plus, I forget in which African tongue, but I believe it means handsome in an African dialect. So, hey, I'm with that. So Jamar was the first name. And then Sadat X was another member in Brand Nubian. And so I took Sadat X. I left out the X because that would be a Nation of Islam or a Nation of Gods and Earth thing, right? Which I've covered both of those on the channel. Just look it up if you're interested in those topics as well. And so I just took Lord Jamar and Sadat X from Brand Nubian, and I put their names together. And also some people might know Anwar Sadat, the Egyptian, I believe, prime minister who was assassinated when he tried to actually make peace with Israel in some way. This is my understanding. Hopefully I'm getting that right. This is in the late 70s, I believe, during the Carter administration. All right? Yes, Amos 3:3, you are right. That is Ray Comfort's hometown. And in fact, after I talked to Mike Winger about this, us being at Hosanna, his church there in Bellflower, it's literally right there, downtown strip. I mentioned that to him. He's like, yeah, Ray Comfort's around the corner. I was like, for real? And he's like, yeah. He said Mike Winger said he would just dip in Ray Comfort's office and grab tracts and stuff when he would go evangelize. And I was like, that's cool, man. That's cool. And he always said Ray Comfort was like a real cool guy. You know what I'm saying? So he gave him props, on the like legitimate tip. So shout out to Mike Winger. Shout out to Ray Comfort. Shout out to Bellflower, California. And somebody in the live chat can verify some of what I'm saying because she's been a personal witness of it as well with her husband. Carm is here. Sometimes she goes by Little C. She knows a lot about what I'm talking. See, right here, she's asking. That's the one we went to, right? Carm, I don't remember all the ones you went to. So you tell me which ones, and I don't know. Did you see the debate where I debated I forgot the guy's name. It was like Clausen or something. I forgot his name, but it was like a Dutch name or something like that. He's like a New Testament or philosophy professor somewhere. I feel so bad. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. We were friends and stuff. I just really can't remember. Even though it was only a few years ago, it feels like it was like years ago. Life's strange, man. I'm gonna be dead before I know it. We all are, so I'm not trying to be grim or anything. I'm just saying. Anyways, Carm can testify to some of what I'm talking about because the way I met Carm was she went to a lot of these trainings that we did. Now, these trainings didn't always involve the role play aspect. The role play aspect is what you see on the screen, right? Where I would used my friend George Saig's clothes. So I didn't have, this is before Islamicized me, I didn't have any, like clothes like this back in the day. Now I do, but I did not back then. Now I'm getting something. I know you can't hear me as well because my head's turned away. Yeah, here's what I wanted to show you. Calvary Chapel magazine, okay. Sharing with Muslims in America. Now that's not a picture of George, but that is a picture of a Middle Eastern brother of ours who is sharing the gospel with a Muslim man outside a mosque in America, okay? And so I'm gonna go through a little bit of this because George is the one who let me borrow those clothes. His name is George Saik. He's now at the time I always had thought George was a Syrian, and so there's actually an article that Dante 400 Years Fortson read from today, from God Reports. And in that article, it said that an Assyrian Christian showed Vocab the ropes of mosque evangelism. I felt horrible because it was later I realized George was telling me the whole time he was Syrian, not Assyrian. And I know there's a difference. I know there's a difference. It's just that I always thought he was saying Assyrian. I didn't realize he was saying Syrian. And I felt so dumb after that and all that. And it's just, but anyways, I'll blame it on George because George does have somewhat of an accent, Hey, brother Vocab, I just want to come bless the people. You share the gospel. That'd be really great. It'd be really unique if you could share the gospel with them. Brother Vocab, we could do a training session. So here's an example of what I'm talking about with the mosque evangelism, and this is from the Calvary Chapel magazine. I know this brother. I know this brother a little bit, but I know this brother much better. That's weird when you're pointing, it goes to the wrong. I haven't figured that out. Anyways, this brother's an amazing man, and he's done a lot, And there they are. Now this is in Michigan, here, but these folks are mainly from Southern California, the ones doing it. But they're at a Michigan mosque, where again Carm is from. I feel sorry for her that. But here is a picture of Brother George. Here's a picture of Brother George right there. And he's sharing the gospel with Muslims. His Arabic is fluent. And as a young man, he went to a madrasa. And he was from a Christian family of sorts, although he hadn't fully embraced it at that point, I don't think. And what happened is they beat into him the Quran, literally. And I have an interview coming out with him, I think it's going to appear on the channel this month. Now, it's going to be an audio upload. Be sure to look for that interview with Brother George Saik. That's going to be coming up on the channel this month. You definitely want to hear that because he tells a story about still having scars on his back and everything. But the beauty of it is this, that he knows the Quran inside and out in Arabic. And when he goes to the mosque, he is able to speak to Muslims in Arabic. And I was there present at the Tempe Mosque where there were some pretty radical dudes there, and they weren't having any of our witnessing activities. And so one of them at one point started singing the Quran, which is considered like a high skill to be able to do well, because not only do you know the Quran, you know how to intonate it in Arabic, and you also have to have a pleasing voice. And so it's a highly kind of specific set of skills. And this brother began, well, I say brother in the sense of humanity. The Muslim man began doing that, right? I don't mind calling people brothers as long as people know what I mean, because we there's a shared humanity that I like to embrace. So this brother was shout out to BK Apologist. Everybody subscribe to BK Apologist channel. That man brings the goods 24/7. That's right. Brooklyn in the building. Shout out to you, man, Alfredo. So George, I saw this. I never would have believed it. He began singing the Bible in Arabic back to the guy, and it was wild. It was dueling Arabic singers, one with the Quran and one with the Bible, and the Muslim was clearly shocked. He had never seen anything like this. He kept on going, but it was clear he stopped first, if my memory is correct. Did I say it was 2019, Captain Cook? If I did, excuse me. Anyways, 2020, whatever. Anyways, that's George. He's very dynamic, and George has the kind of personality that he can almost get you to do anything. If he asks you to do something, you end up doing it. I know most of the people. Now, not the Muslims picture because they're in Michigan, but I know this sister over here. I know this sister. There's Teresa. Oh, that's Carly. That's Carly and Maria. They don't show Teresa. I don't think she was in this. But there's Carly. So there's a number of really awesome people involved in this. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to show you this is what I was involved with. Now, I'm not in this this Calvary Chapel piece they did, which is a really good piece. I'm just kind of give you a sense to show you the pictures so you get an idea of some of the activities and stuff that we were doing, that we were involved with. And so when Brother George Said, asks you to do something, you do it. They did some awesome stuff with VBS for Arabic kids as well, and there's George having fun with it. He's just a great guy, man. Those are the kind of people that are going to have the big thrones and the big crowns in heaven, you know what I mean? And I'll just be glad if I make it in. So there's the article that gives you the background. I'm not reading it. I'm trying to show you a visual from this, because that was what I was involved with, ministry to Muslims, right? And so with that, George always wanted to find ways to train the people who were going out to the mosque. He always wanted to find ways to train the brothers and sisters who were going to be interacting with Muslims. He always wanted to train them. And so training was nonstop. We did trainings at Phoenix seminaries when they were here in Phoenix, trainings at First Arabic Baptist Church, trainings at Assemblies of God Church on the south side, trainings at Apologia. Sam spoke there. Trainings at some churches downtown. The list just goes on and on and on. And you know what I'm saying? Where we do trainings, that's more on the Phoenix side, because we would do stuff in Phoenix as well. Then, of course, a grip of training over there in LA as well. And 2 times that I remember, George asked me to play the role of Jamar Sadat, a Muslim apologist, to debate in front of the audience to let them hear what Muslim apologist arguments were like. Now, I don't remember who it was. Maybe somebody can help me. Is it Socrates or Aristotle or Plato? Man, I'm rusty. Someone find out. But he said that you really know your opponent's position when you can argue it for them while understanding their points, and when you can argue their position, right? And so I took that as a challenge. I didn't want to do a cartoonish example of what a Muslim apologist would be like. I wasn't going to be, in the vein of a, D-Dot. That's not who I was going to be. Or Osama Abdullah, if you guys remember him. Or what's the man, Nadir Ahmed, who I've debated a few times. I wasn't going to be like those kind of guys. I was going to be more like, who's the guy that James White sometimes debates in Australia? Badawi? No, not Jamal Badawi. He's a younger guy. I see, man. See, dealing with Hebrew Israelites, some of this is passing out of my mind. There's an Australian younger Muslim apologist who's always really respectful and just a cool guy. You know what I mean? I was thinking of him, or a more westernized version, even of maybe, oh my goodness, I can't even remember. Not Yasser Qadi, but am I really not remembering his name? This is horrible. The guy in Toronto, Canada. You guys know who I'm talking about. Everything is just passing out of my mind. But the guy in Toronto, Canada, right? I wanted to be like that kind of vibe, so real respectful, real peaceful, real calm, real logical, empathetic, and I wanted them to feel the pressure of that kind of approach of a Muslim. Because if all they know is a cartoonish, version of a Muslim, they're not really prepared when they're caught off guard by a Muslim who really exemplifies the Middle Eastern hospitality aspect that a lot of times is evident when you really get to know a lot of Muslims. And I wanted them to feel that pressure of sincerely being invited, because I've had Muslims outside the mosque look at me dead in the eye and put their hands on my shoulder and say, I know you want to submit to Allah. I know it's burning in your heart right now. You know what I'm saying is true. And look me in the eye, put their hand on my shoulder, very sincere, very firm. I know you don't want to experience hellfire. I invite you to submit to the one true way for all people, Allah. And his, the whole Shahada kind of spiel, right? Shout out to Titus 2, No, I'm not talking about Ahmed Rashid. I'm not talking about Tawhidi either. Shabir Ali. See, that's embarrassing that passed through my mind. That is embarrassing. Thank you, Franklin. That's really embarrassing that it passed through my mind. But, he's always very respectful and he's intellectual, even though he's not very man on the street-ish, right? So with all that being said, that's the kind of Muslim I portrayed, especially the first time I did it. The first time I did it was in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, the picture of the cover image for tonight's live stream is not from the Phoenix, Arizona debate. It's from the L.A. one, specifically Bellflower. I just always say Anaheim, even though Anaheim's like 20 minutes away from the spot. I just people know Anaheim, and so you just say L.A. Because, anyways. But the first time I did it was against Anthony Rogers, and that was on, the deity of Christ. Now, the way that happened was really last minute. I was already involved with the training conference that we were doing here in Phoenix with the LA team and some other teams and people from here in Phoenix to reach out to Muslims at the Arab American Fest. I was already, cued into all that, right? But the Muslim debater backed out. They canceled. And I cannot tell you how many times this has happened. This has happened an insane amount of times, right? Where we get cancellations, and sometimes we get the strangest things I've ever heard, right? Well, there was a cancellation this time, and so George says, "Hey, but the Vocab, I was hoping you could do the training debate. When is it? Oh, it's Friday, and I guess like 2 days away, right?" And so I have to prepare a presentation as if I'm attacking the New Testament and the deity of Christ from a convincing Muslim standpoint. So I'm hustling, man. This guy asked me to do it. And I'm like, sure, yeah, but it's a big deal to take that on. How many you could debate against a man like Anthony Rogers as a Muslim, attacking the deity of Christ? It's whoa. So I'm just, typing away, it goes down, and it went pretty well. And it's funny, there's people who came late to the event, and they were like, who is this guy blaspheming Jesus in our sanctuary? There's people there who didn't understand what was going on. There were so many people there who came who thought I was a Muslim, Dwight Powder. I knew there might be some people who feel like that, who might kind of have that kind of view. I understand. But I just simply don't agree. Dwight's saying, you denied Christ? Not good, Vocab. Yeah, I don't agree. So if you feel that way, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you you can't have your opinion. But I don't agree. I think it's important for Christians to hear the other side. And I want to make it as real as possible. Because once you're out there in the street or at the mosque, or you're at the Muslim's home, or you're in their home, or they're at your home, whatever the case is. By the way, if they are, put your dog away, and maybe your pictures if you really want to go all out. Once I'm going to do it justice. He's not even waking up. I'm saying his name. So I simply disagree. It's a disagreement about methodology. And if you get involved with ministry to Muslims, you know what I'm saying, and you wouldn't want to do something like that, I respect that. But George asked me to do it. I totally understand the value of the training, of the role-playing. By the way, I've never been in sales by God's grace. I've never had to do that. I'm so glad. But, you may, by the way, the put your dog away comment is actually not supposed to, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. I was saying that more out of respect for the visitor. I wasn't saying they're going to kill them, just so everybody knows. Because I see someone laughing. I was saying, I was saying that out of respect. Okay. But anyways, if you guys have ever been in sales, it's a common thing where you have a situation where they do role playing for you to be able to interact and understand a customer, right? This is a common thing. This is what they do in the military. There's a sense of role playing, That's what a lot of training is in a very different way. So that's what we had going down. So it's very interesting. And Anthony Rogers, this is funny because I knew of Anthony Rogers before this, but we had never met. So the first time we ever meet is me and Anthony debating each other. And afterwards it's I was like, man, is this guy going to catch feelings? Because I'm going to go after him. I'm not going to act. I'm going to go after him in a very legitimate way, but I'm going to attack with everything I have, and I'm going to argue unfairly like a lot of these guys do. I'm going to pull out the tricks that I see being used in real life. I'm going to do it in a way. Andrew, I see what you're saying. Evangelism is basically a form of sales. I never liked that, though, because our job is not to close the deal. That's the Holy Spirit's job. And so I've seen approaches to evangelism that are slick like that. But the driving force of salesmen and evangelism are two different things. One is felt needs and all this kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? Features and benefits and all this kind of stuff in sales. Whereas with the gospel, it's more of we're news reporters. We're news reporters, ladies and gentlemen. We're supposed to report the truth, and then and then we do make a compelling case for the people to believe the truth, right? But it doesn't always happen. But we're not salesmen. We're not saleswomen. We are news reporters. We're heralds. You know, like the old town criers. Hear ye, hear ye. You know, that's us. So with that being said, it went well, and it's kind of funny because I was like, man, you know, Anthony Rogers is going to catch feelings, but Anthony is so cool, calm, and collected. You know, he's not going to. So we became cool, you know, people after that. You know, that was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, and that is a video that Dante 400 Years Fortson recently found on Vimeo. By the way, I'm going to show you that I have the account for the Vimeo page, meaning I could have took this down or changed it a long time ago if I wanted, because I got it right here. I'm going to show you that I have access inside the account for what's on Vimeo. Vimeo is like a wannabe competitor to YouTube, yada, yada, yada. So these old videos are on there, and they're broken down because I think that's how Vimeo made you do them at the time. Vimeo, like, you had to break it up if you didn't have a paid account. Kind of like the back in the day with YouTube. Anybody remember YouTube would only allow you to do 10 minutes at a time? You'd have like a special thing to get more than 10 minutes of video up. Yeah, it's crazy, right? And so, yeah, that's right. So, yeah, so we got, so we just got, you guys are funny in the live chat. You guys are funny. I'm just looking at your guys' comments. You guys are funny. Yeah, Faithful to God's in the house. Subscribe to him, and Black Hebrewism Critique. Subscribe to that channel as well, everybody. Some good stuff out there. So anyways, there it is, right? And he found it and is made several videos isolating these clips out saying I'm a Muslim, and I'm going to show you some parts of it. I'm going to skip through this, but I want to give you the background. Now I'm going to have Anthony Rogers come on later, and he's actually going to talk about it, so we're going to discuss this, right? And then this picture that you see, though, is from the second time I did Jamar Sadat, and this time I was able to get more authentic gear. I was wearing George's, clothes he gave me. And that was with the New Testament prof at the building of Mike Winger's church, and that's what that's from. And that's from Jeff Cran's page, because Jeff Cran was in the house, our Messianic Jewish brother. He was there. He wasn't our participant in that part of it, but he was there for the debate, so he knows what was up. And it was a very interesting time, right? Now, I had some other stuff I was going to show you guys. I can't remember what it is, though, right? I can't remember just yet. Yeah, let me see what else I was going to show you guys. Oh, yeah. Here's an example. Okay, there we go. Yeah. This is an example of the kind of events we would do. What year is this from? This isn't from last year. I think this is from 2 years ago. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, so look. Muslim Evangelism Conference, training testimonials. Now, if you notice the picture of me on here, you guys see that right there? It is the picture on your screen. And there's Jeff Cran right beside me. There's Brother Jafari. There's Al Fadi. There's Irvin and his wife Hulda. There's George Saig. And then you look, it tells you what it's going to be. And look, training and testimonials. So there's always a heavy training element when we did these events, these ministry, the Muslim events, right? And part of it was at First Eric Baptist Church. The other part was at Hillside Baptist. And Hillside is actually where Jeff Cran's involved with. So you can see the kind of things we were doing, And God really moved there. It was good stuff. I have some other materials I might show you and get to later. But what I want to do now is show you guys that there's a Hebrew Israelite guy. I mentioned his name a few times. Dante 400 Years Fortson. And he is telling people I'm actually a secret Muslim plant. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. I'm going to go over here. It's going to take a second for me to set up here. That's showing Skype. That's not what we're going to be looking at. Okay, going over to Google Chrome. Make it big. Okay. Okay, taking this. Let's see, let me move this over here. Okay. All right. Let me see here. All right, before I do that, I'm going to show you where the original video comes from as well. So here it is on Vimeo, as I already mentioned. It's the name of the show that I did back in the day. Now, it's kind of funny that Dante 400 Years Fortson, you know, he prides himself as a researcher, right? Which is fascinating considering the level of his research. But he prides himself as a researcher. Well, what's interesting, he makes his claim that I was not involved with urban apologetics at all, and that I was strictly doing things relating to Muslims and Muslim evangelism, and it was later after I realized this is his theory, I couldn't get any traction with Muslim evangelism, that I switched over to urban apologetics, right? Because everybody knows that, you know, people that deal with Islam, like David Wood, they don't have much of a platform, but if you deal with Hebrew Israelites, you know, you really shoot up there, right? But here's what's interesting. This guy says, Dante 400 Years Fortson, part of his theory is that I wasn't involved back in the day with urban apologetics. I was involved with Islamic stuff strictly. Now, everyone, do you see this page on Vimeo? What's the name of it? Look at the logo. Guess what? The very page on Vimeo where Dante 400 Years Fortson found this video that he thinks he's uncovered that's so amazing. It's from a page called Urban Theologian Radio. Do you see that? Shout out to Peanut for the super chat, by the way. You're the first of the night. So how can this dude miss this and say I wasn't involved with urban apologetics? It was called Urban Theologian back then. It still is. Street level Christian apologetics for the 21st century. You see it? What is this guy on? You know? What? It's so funny. He thinks he has these incredible powers of observation, and then he misses the obvious right in front of his face. So look, again, it's from Urban Theologian Radio. Is Jesus God? Part 5. Christian versus Muslim debate. Now, he made a claim today in his video. When he showed this, he said Vocab purposely broke this up so you would think it's an appeal to get you to join Islam, and it doesn't show the same context and intro as the YouTube video does. Now, it is true that the YouTube video on my channel, by the way, this video is on my channel, so it's not something I was trying to hide. The video in its entirety is on my channel. Just Google, search in the YouTube search engine, why are these Christians debating? Vocab Malone, Anthony Rogers, and it's our picture on the screen because I took this and I compiled it together, and it's all right there, right? Now, with that being said, this still says in all the parts of the video that it's a training video. First of all, the video opens up with me saying, should I be in character now or not? And it ends with me saying, now I'm stepping out of character. That's literally how the first part and the last part are. Number one. Number two, I'm going to show you the description of one of these, okay? You guys ready for the description? Okay, let me show you the description here. You guys are gonna like this. I'm gonna play this in Oh, okay. I'm actually gonna play this in a second here. But first, let me show you something here. Where is it? Oh, it's on a different part of the video. I'll show it to you when it comes up. Okay. But notice that I'm in the account. Do you know this? Edit profile, view profile. Like, I have access to this. There's no need to take this down. It's not like a secret trove he's uncovered. You know what I mean? Look, this column is only visible to you. You guys see what I'm saying? So let's actually play this. Everyone listen very carefully to this, okay? Play this very carefully. I need to turn this audio up. Turn that down. Okay. I'm going to let you hear this, okay? Now, everyone listen very carefully. This is the video under question that makes folks say that I am actually a secret Muslim.
The Quran says all I have.
Let them introduce themselves, self-introduction. I'll record an introduction later.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just thanks to the Center for Religious Debate for arranging this, and thank you for my opponent.
Am I in character or am I as vocab right now?
It can be vocab. That's fine.
Okay. Am I in character or am I as vocab right now? Notice the time. It's 20 seconds in. So 20 seconds into this video, this is part 1. Now, if you see part 5, any person should understand there's a part 1. No kidding, Sherlock, right? My point is, all you need is to go back and watch and see this. So I specifically say, all right, that am I in character? I'm a vocab. It's obvious, okay? This is not a secret, okay? So watch this. DJ Next. DJ Next, is that you? Is that you? Like from back in the day, bro? Is that you? What? People be popping out the woodwork on YouTube. We used to do a hip-hop radio show way back in the day. DJ Next, if that's you, that's crazy. Wait, this guy's saying you're a closet Muslim. I knew vocab 15 years ago. Oh, it's look, it's blocked, so it looks like it says definitely. That's hilarious. The comments cut off. Let me show you before Dante's like, see, this is definitely not a Muslim. Let me fix this here on the screen. 400 years, Fortson foiled me again. Drat. Okay, so this is DJ Next. Wow, I am shocked. Yeah, he says in the comments, yeah, bro, I cannot believe that. Whoa. Hey, you know what? I'm glad you're here, man. We're just going to go ahead and go there on 400 years, Fortson. So DJ Next, could you just tell everybody, I'd hate to do this to you, bro. I'd hate to do this to you. Nah, not from Radio U, Castro, but from one of the first hip-hop internet radio stations. I think the name was Slam Radio. Was that the name, DJ Next? Was it called Slam Radio? That was like when internet radio was on its beginning. We got involved with an entrepreneur, man. A guy who had a vision, you know what I mean? You and I, and that was dope. But I hate to do this to you, bro. But DJ Next, are you black? Because Dante 400 Years Fortson is saying that I had nothing to do with black people until I got involved with urban apologetics. Who owned the station? What color, what ethnicity was he? The guy who was in charge, meaning our boss. What was he, DJ Next? What are you? You know, I don't know who else is at the station besides Tina and Paco. And Paco is Dominican Puerto Rican. But everybody else besides, was her name Tina? Was that her name? I think her name is Tina. Something with a T. But the gal, she wasn't. Wait, DJ Next, I'm very white Mexican. So wait, who are you then? So you're someone else then. Ah, man, I'm sorry. White and Mexican. I'm sorry, man. Well, okay. I think I know who you are, but I'm trying to remember. Did we do some events together, bro? I think you spun some events, right? DJ Next, do you know DJ Fidel Castro? Because it's crazy. We got 2 DJs here from back in the day from our open mic events we used to do. This is bizarre. This is like full circle. Because DJ Castro, he's under the name Richard James, but he used to DJ by DJ Castro. And then we got DJ Next. Yeah, we used to do shows. But what shows? Sorry, guys, this is catching me off guard. What shows? Like, I'm trying to remember what popped off. It's like a blur. Nah, DJ Next is not who I thought he was. I thought you were a different guy. I forget that guy's name now. Anyways, let me know, bro. That's hilarious. Anyways, the point is this dude known for Crew 1 was an OG. Cree. Yeah. Okay, Cree. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy, bro. Yeah. Yeah, my email is thestreetapologist@gmail. Okay, so anyways. You can hear me already say I'm in character, okay? Back on track, okay? And listen to this, everybody, listen. What's up? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our debate. The topic today is Jesus God. Our 2 debaters are apologist Anthony Rogers. He'll be answering in the affirmative from the Christian perspective. I encourage you to check out his other debates on YouTube. And answering in the negative will be our Islamic apologist Jamar Sadat, who will be taking his seat as soon as he is in character. That's myself, Vocab. Notice, no one could miss that this is a role play situation. Connor says, Dante, 400 years, Fortson has the detective skills of Inspector of the Gadget. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. Inspector Gadget. I'll get you, Gadget. I'll get you yet. Remember Dr. Claw would always be petting his cat? Cats probably don't like people with claws, petting them. I'll get you, Gadget. Oh, man, that's a hard voice to do. Okay. Anyways, dude, go, Gadget, go. All right, so keep on with this right here.
And he will be answering, no, Jesus is not God. And I encourage you to check out his website, 101 Reasons Why Christianity is False.net. I want to thank the Center for Religious Debate, George Saig, and the team for putting this on. We will have 2 20-minute opening statements, followed by 2 10-minute rebuttals, followed by 2 5-minute conclusions, and then the Jamar Sadat character will give a alternative conclusion. With that, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, please, for apologist Mr. Anthony Rogers.
Gerard Perry says vocab looks like an extra in a Martin Scorsese film in this video. So, hey, you can take the boy out of Italy, but you can't take the Italy out of the boy, or be more specific. You could put the boy in an Arabic church, but he's still Sicilian. Gerard Perry. Yeah, that's funny. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try my best. I try to look, because at the mosque, what I notice is that not all Muslims come in the full kind of thawb type of vibe. There's a lot of Muslims who are professionals. They're like maybe a dentist, and they use their lunch break during Friday prayer. You know what I mean? And then they jump over the mosque real quick, and they jump back. I saw that again and again. And a lot of those type of professional men and women, well, the men in this case, they dress more like this guy. Dockers, like kind of khaki slacks and this kind of just conservative press shirt, not really drawing too much attention, what you would call business casual, right? And so I was imitating that. I didn't want to do the whole, like, all out. Shout out to Theosis for the super chat, and also shout out to Shadowboxer for the super chat talking about Frocab. Okay, so you guys already can tell, right? I'm in character, okay? Okay, so I'm going to go back out, and I'm going to go to the final part here. What's the final part? Part 4. Part 1, 2, 3. Is it part 4? Oh, part 5. Duh. Okay, so here we are, part 5, okay? I'm going to try to skip through this and let you guys hear the end.
In my humble opinion, a little more advanced than a lot of Islamic apologists.
Okay, so it begins at part 4. Okay, so that makes it even worse. Because what this shows is that in parts 1, 4, and 5, it makes it worse for 400 years, Fortson. In parts 1, 4, and 5, every single one, you know what I mean? Except for 2 and 3, it's mentioned that this is role play. By the way, notice 1619, 1630, 1620, 1619. I think Vimeo had these limits of how much you could upload, and that's why the files are all the same time, because of the same size. So let's look at part 4 here, where I come out of character. It's very important to hear and see this, all right? So let me jump over here and find this. Because what this does is...
Oh, this is just correct.
He sort of smuggled in a little rebuttal time.
What's happening here? Is this where I'm... Oh, I'm doing a rebuttal. Okay. Okay, I'm going to kind of let this play because why I talk without the sound. I don't know. I might skip forward, but a lot of times on Vimeo, when you try to go forward, it doesn't doesn't work properly. Have you guys noticed that? So I'm going to let this play for a second, and I'm going to go over and look at the comments for a second why this is playing. And so while I look at the comments, let me catch everyone up to speed. I'm resetting what's happening. I'm reminding and reviewing. Okay. Again. Late 2019, early 2020, a Hebrew Israelite author named Dante Fortson. We call him 400 Years Fortson because he embraced a version of the 2019 false prophecy. Now, he says he doesn't embrace it like the camps, but that shows he doesn't listen very well because we said the camps didn't embrace it. So the camps were 1999, 2000, right? And so he's not even right within his own religion. The camps, by large, did not embrace the 2019 prophecy. We've said that again and again and again, right? It was mainly independent Hebrew Israelite so-called moderates, such as Dante, 400 years Fortson. So what he did is, 400 years Fortson has noticed when he goes after certain people that it helps him, right? And I respect that strategy. I get that strategy. So I'm not going to really make a big deal out of that, okay? Because I understand what he's doing, okay? And it's not the end of the world, okay? It's not the end of the world. I get that strategy. I'm not going to whine about it. I can handle the heat. I can take the smoke. But what it is interesting that he prides himself sort of like as a deep researcher, you know, who's making careful observations, and he's a teacher who's got years of experience. This is how he promotes himself, right? Again and again, if you look, that's kind of his bag, right? Hey, what's up, Kate? Everyone subscribe to his channel too as well. And Miss Titus too as well. She's about to hit 1,000. All right. So with that being said, it's interesting the mistakes he makes. Either he's that sloppy with his methodology, or really he is playing a game, you know? I don't know because I don't know people's motivation, you know? But I do know sort of behavior patterns. So here's what I mean. Right? When you leave a message or users online, are you... I think I'm a little irritated with leave a message user online, if that's really what you're doing. Let's time you out. Let's go ahead and time leave a message user online. You're timed out. I don't like when people try to tell me how to run things on here. I love you, but you gotta do it in a different way. So you get timed out. All right. So see, now I'm distracted. See, you made it worse. With that, I know desperation when I see it. I know when you're cornered, how you act, how you roll, what you do. So it's clear that Dante, 400 years Fortson, feels cornered. Now it's sad because I really haven't given him really a lot of attention. I haven't done a lot of deep dives into his stuff at that level. It's true I had the cover of his book, but it was simply because of the subtitle of it, because of the 400 years video I did. But it wasn't some deep dive. Now, I don't do the whole, I don't pay attention, I don't care. I'm not saying that. I don't do that kind of thing. I don't like when people do that. Like, there's just an ant, there's just a flea. I'm not about those kind of games. I'm just saying, if I've done a deep dive, I'll say I've done a deep dive. But I had not, you know what I'm saying? But I did put his cover of a book on something, right? And so, you know, that was minor, but it kind of gave him license, he felt like, to like do all these videos on me. And I watched bits and pieces of parts of a lot of them. But I noticed he started doing a new thing where this guy is talking about Vocab has Islamic ties. And most of all, what's crazy, he says, I helped train an Islamic shooter. He says, I helped train an Islamic mass shooter, a.k.a. Elton Simpson, a.k.a. the man I knew as Ibrahim. Now, if you look back in May of 2015, you will find things where this is spoken of from CNN and this and that, because they went after Robert Spencer. You know what I mean? And went ahead and they went down to Texas. They left Phoenix. Nadir was the other guy's name. I didn't know him, but I knew the mosque he went to. They went over to Texas to try to shoot up the cartoon drawing contest that Robert Spencer and Pamela Geller were holding. And I had a witnessing relationship with this guy before. I was trying to convert him, and he was trying to convert me. And so I spoke to the news about it because they saw my blog at streetapologist.com. By the way, further evidence, this guy says I just now got into urban apologetics. Did he not realize that they quoted from my blog, streetapologist.com? So he's had two sources here, one from 6, one from 5, Urban Theologian Radio and streetapologist.com. Those are, let me just look at the names of those 400 years, Fortson, you know? Your research and skills, it's not that good, bro. You know what I mean? So what we got going on, right? And, okay, so Sister Spooky says, whoa, that's way over the line. Dude needs to be sued for slander. Sheesh, that just ain't right. You would never do that. Well, of course. Who am I to try to train a terrorist anyway? Like, it's like certain things you got to know that I don't really know, you know. Climate Barbie, I don't know what you're on, but please come back in a better way. I am going to actually time you out. And maybe just, this isn't that kind of chat, homegirl. It's not that kind of chat, so let's go ahead and time her out as well. Oh, boy. Jeez. Man, you guys are really distracting me up in here, you know what I mean? Yeah, so here's Castro. Look at your records going back 20 years. He's talking about our old Christian hip-hop CDs. Because DJ Castro, Richard James, he not only were roommates, he's my DJ, but you know what I mean? He also, you know, made the beats and did the cuts, and we performed live shows and all that, you know what I mean? And it's kind of funny because Dante 400 Years Fortson made this big deal where he was like, yo, man, look, he didn't get any love on YouTube from his rap. He didn't get no love on YouTube for his rap. You know what I'm saying? And so he switched over to apologetics. The metrics were different back then. Like, YouTube wasn't the place you went for your videos. It was stuff like SoundClick, and even before that, mp3.com and other stuff. And it was actually, you still did consignment, so you physically got your CDs into record stores and stuff like that. The metrics were different. It had to do with flyers for shows, passing them out, getting booked. It wasn't like views on YouTube. The social media stuff wasn't what it was like. In fact, that's kind of, MySpace was coming out. You know what I mean? It was a different thing, right? And so, anyways, just making that point in regards to the hip hop stuff. Now, Sister Spooky says this, and here's what's so interesting. Here's what's so interesting about this, Sister Spooky. Dante 400 Years Fortson opened up his video tonight. He did a premiere earlier today, saying that he is going to sue Faithful to God and maybe me for slander. And he says he spoke to a lawyer about it, and he's going to sue us. You can watch the video yourself. Some people are like, I don't want to name his name, and I don't care if you subscribe to Dante 400 Years Fortson. Have at it. You can subscribe to his channel if you want. You can watch all of his videos if you want. Have at it. Like, I don't. Some people were like, oh, we can't. It's fine. If you're going to be deceived by what he, then there's other issues going on if you're going to be deceived by what he's putting out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's just a fact, right? So, looking at this man is talking about he's going to sue and all this. And what's crazy is, yeah, Fred Sanford, he's going to sue us for $400. Everything's going to be in 400. Oh, man. Well, remember, he said faithful to God. He said maybe me. Maybe after tonight's broadcast, then he will. What's so bizarre is this dude is claiming I'm a Muslim and claiming that I trained a terrorist. And claims also that I'm a white supremacist. He has a video where it talks about urban apologetics, and on the cover is a bunch of KKK dudes. This is the same dude that says he's going to sue me. Right? You know, Dante 400 Years Fortson must have talked to our friend Ron Shields. Oh, Miss Titus 2 with the burn. She says Brother Jay needs to do a remix to Them Boys Lying and call it Them Boys Crying. Them boys crying. Them boys crying. You guys are too much, man. You're wild tonight, man. This show's never gonna get done. All right, so here's what's interesting, though. You know, this dude is saying this, but yet, you know, hypothetically, we could, you know, do it. Okay. And why we did all this, we're reading directly from his website. You know, what sparked it all off is this. What sparked it all off is while we were doing a live stream on the 400 Years False Prophecy, I had brought up some stuff. And now, I'd been to his website before. I'm not going to say I hadn't been to his website before. I didn't realize I was on his website then because I always forget that website's title because it's different than the other stuff he does. Whatever that title is different than the other stuff. So I always kind of like forget, right? So anyways, I didn't realize at first I was on his website. And then during the live stream, I was like, wait, is this Dante Fortson's website? Because he was promoting variations of the 2019 false 400 years prophecy. If you're new to understanding Hebrew Israelism or new to all of this, just know that a lot of people, Judah Line, I'm timing you out, man. I'm not with that. I don't like Judah Lion, you say you're a lion, but I love you. I pray. There's people in this live chat, Judah Lion, who pray for you. I want you to know that. But I'm going to be honest, man to man, sometimes you don't act like Judah the Lion. Sometimes, sir, you act like Judah the Snake. Because I see your other comments you leave when we're not around with Hebrew Israelites. The stuff you say is not cool. And there's a chameleon aspect to some of your behavior. And I just encourage you, man, check yourself in the mirror. I really encourage you. You're going to get timed out for that one, man, because that's not really cool. You know? So, we saw that Dante, and that's why we call him now 400 years, Dante 400 Years Fortson promoted a version, along with Pastor Omar down in Louisiana, of the 400 Years False Prophecy. Now, they have this other version. They try to go and all this. But look, at the end of the day, man, Faithful did call him a false prophet. He may not be a false prophet, but he's definitely a false teacher. And guess what? You can't sue people for calling you a false teacher. It's just so silly, so ridiculous. And, you know, this is like the type of dude who if Paul, the Apostle Paul, would have mentioned him in his letters, you know, like, hey, this coppersmith, Demas, you know, Alexander, you know, if he would have mentioned, like, hey, you know, he's a false teacher, he's doing this and that. Imagine if Alexander and Demas, I'm going to sue you, I'm going to take you to the authorities. Now, when somebody says they're going to call the white man on you, basically, you know, I'll put it in the terms of the Hebrew Israelites, that means they don't have any options left. Because you don't call the cops IUIC unless you don't have nothing else you can do. You don't talk about suing people if you can really go at them. If Dante 400 Years Fortson can really go at us in the scripts, head to head, boom to boom, without using stuff like the kumbaya argument, which is like so passe, right? Without really using that kind of stuff, head to head in the scripts, if he could really do it in his videos, he wouldn't be saying he's going to sue us and coming up with these secret conspiracy theories about me being a secret closeted Muslim, right? How bizarre is this? This is one of the strangest things I had ever heard. I figured one day somebody would find these training videos and use them, but I think I always thought it was going to be a Muslim who was going to use them. I always thought it was going to be a Muslim who was going to say, oh, look, you're even agreeing with Islam here. I didn't really think it was going to be a Hebrew Israelite who was going to do it, but it's a Hebrew Israelite who did it, and now this guy is coming out, talk about Vocab is not just a secret Muslim, but if you watch his older videos on me, and when I say older, I mean within the past month or so, he says also it's highly suspect that I'm an Arabic person or an Arab who doesn't want to say I am. He says my first name is probably a fake name because John Mark is two of the gospel writers. Well, I got to inform you, I was named after the author of Mark, who's John Mark. I don't know, you know, if you guys know this, if you know Scripture, you know who John Mark is. John Mark's the author of the Gospel of Mark. I wasn't named after two Gospels. My first name is John Mark, right? And that is from the Gospel author of the book of Mark, John Mark. It's hyphenated in my case, right? And so that's my real first name. You know, it's out there. I wish it wasn't out there on the internet so much, but it is. And then my last name, which is also out there, he says a Jewish last name. It is true there's some German Jews who have that last name. And so my dad looked into that, and some other family members looked into that, because they were kind of hoping we were, at least on that side of the family. Well, it was a dead end. We weren't. Everything on that side is more German, and on the mom's side, it's more Sicilian. That's the basic breakdown. That's why my last name's not Polino or Giovanni, like some of my Sicilian family members. I would, or Pantalone. Those are the Sicilian family members that I have from Cleveland and Buffalo, right? That's because it's on the maiden side, right? It is what it is, okay? So I'm just going to show one thing real quick here to show this man my name. Now, I guess you could say I'm making it all up. Now, I'm going to pause this right here. Okay, we're going to go back to that in a second, because that's the part I want to show. Okay, we're going to go back to that. I'm going to show something here. All right. Old school right here. This is super old school. This is one of my old graph drawing pads. There's two things I'm pointing this out. One is this is my real name. Look at the year. The other thing is that you're going to see the name inside here. All right. Now, I wish I could show you this better. I'm having trouble. It's hard to hold this up. Well, I'm gonna have trouble showing that one the way it's laid out, but I'm gonna show what I brought is. You'll see how it's relevant in a second here. What I brought is my old graph drawing pad, and the reason why is because that's another thing he's come up with. Not only am I a secret Muslim, undercover, not only am I probably Arabic, not anything else what I'm claiming ethnically. He also says my name Malone, which breaks down to Mal 1, which is where Malone came from, is actually indication that I'm telling you, because Mal is in Spanish means bad, that I'm actually the evil one, Mal 1. Well, it's my old graffiti name, bro. This is my old burner book, you know, where I would tag and stuff. I was a graph writer, man. I used to tag Mal. You see this? And if you know, like K or S1, what did graph writers do back in the day? They would usually put 1 at the end of their name. So if somebody else came with the name, they had to switch it. And there's an abbreviation, MAL, marks a lot, right? I even knew that wasn't a good piece, so I put a good sketch, so I put whack on it, you know. But you see these little, like, I was trying my hand styles there. You know, some of this is toyish stuff, as they say. This one's a little bit better, but I got carried away with all the other sketches. But these are Mal 1 sketches. Like, this is the bubble. This is what's called, like, where you do it all in succession, where you don't remove the spray paint at all. You start here, and you go... And what you do is you don't have to ever take your hand off. You just go in a row, and it creates this style where you can do it consecutively. And I practice doing Mal and then 1 at that. But you notice I was always tagging Mal 1 because that was my graph writing name. It's all in this book, you know. One day I should scan these in or something. And so this is from 96. And that's what I wrote. So my point is by saying this is so funny I got to do all this biographical stuff because of 400 years Fortson. My point is Mal 1, which is where Malone comes from, doesn't come because I'm telling you I'm the evil one. It comes because it's my old graffiti art name. See, that's a good example. A common practice by graphers is you take a character and you replace the letter with it. So I took the star and made it into my A. Notice it says Columbus, Ohio there, you know. That's an example. You know, I was getting a little bit better there. So these are my old graph sketches of the pieces I was doing. You know, here's another sketch. And notice almost all of them are the name, Mal, because that's what I tagged. Mal 1. Now, I'm not promoting vandalism, by the way, okay? I have a record, okay? My record is, I got criminal, you know, I got a, is it a first or third class? I forgot. It's been so long since a first or third class misdemeanor for vandalism because I used to graph write, okay? I was in a different place then. I was in a different headspace. But notice, I'm tagging Mal. That's what I wrote because I was Mal 1. I was a graph writer. That's what I did. That's what I bombed, you know? I mean, this is so funny to show these things. You know, I just said bomb. That's a common slang term for graph. I'm almost done with this. I'm over-proving the point to show this. So any Israelites who are halfway in good conscience, halfway in good faith, will watch this and realize, oh, Dante 400 years Fortson is not to be trusted at all because it's obvious what Vocab is saying is true in 1,000 ways. Because his whole point to do all this is to say, you know, Vocab can't be trusted. And this is cool. This is cute. My son, Malachi, he used to call himself Mal 2. And so this is actually, I didn't do this. My son did this. You know, he's young, so don't be holding it too hard. But this touched my heart. He did a Mal 2 piece, and I put it in my graph book because his name is Malachi. And so the idea is instead of Mal 1, he's Mal 2. And he imitated one of my old styles. You can see it's similar to one of the pieces I did, but he did Mal 2, and that was really touching when he did that. Anyways, don't want to get all sentimental on the air, but Mal, what I used to tag. So Dante 400 years Fortson. Sorry to bust your bubble. It comes from when I used to be a graph writer. I've been down with this stuff for a long time, bro. You know. Now, back to the video. If he just would have done his due diligence, all he had to do was watch this.
I guess so. Yeah.
And see.
George's absentee exam.
Okay, this is the part where I'm no longer Jamar Sadat, and I'm supposed to take 5 minutes as my real self as the Christian.
This is the part where I'm no longer Jamar Sadat. I'm going to take 5 minutes of my real self. Isn't this incredibly obvious that I was role-playing? And it's funny, he said, now, if you notice, Vocab was flawless in his explanations of Islam. Well, I appreciate that. I take that as a compliment. Thank you very much, 400 years, Fortson. I appreciate that. But he made a mistake there. My pronunciation of Arabic was not flawless. I do not. You can ask David Wood. I think he was lingering in the live chat earlier. Yeah, he was there. I smelled some white trash. Yeah, he was there earlier. I don't know if he's still in there, but, you know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You got to understand our humor, people. If you don't understand it, again, the show ain't for you. I love you, but, you know, it is what it is. David always has to correct my Arabic pronunciation when we do the Boom Boom Rooms videos, when we did Islamicize Me, you know what I mean? He's always, hey, what's up? I see Veda Real One in the live chat. Everybody subscribe to his channel as well. Yeah, Castro, his cube video is real. He's like a genius at that. It's dope, ain't it? But is he a real one? Yeah, I'll jump on that. All right. So, he's always my Arabic pronunciation is not flawless or good. You know what I mean? I appreciate it, but it's not. Now, my explanations of Islamic theology and the critiques of Christianity, those were on point. Those were on point, you know? But let's watch this, because this is part 4. So notice, part 1, part 4, and part 5. It's all clearly explained what's going on.
To say a few things. First of all, I pray that what I just did does not cause any Christian to lose their faith. However, I would not be scared I would not be worried. In fact, I would be glad if it caused Christians' audience to challenge themselves to examine their own faith better and to understand the Islamic position well enough to argue from it without merely just making a caricature of it. Now, what did I do there, or try to do in the way of trying to faithfully represent what an Islamic apologist might do? Now, first of all, some of what I did was a little...
All right, so there's part 4. Now, no, stop. I don't want to play this. This is why Vimeo is annoying. This is autoplay like that, even no matter what you have it. Did you hear that? So it's clear what's happening. And by the way, wows, yes, it is from Jamar. It is from Sadat X and Lord Jamar from Brand Nubian. Look at this. This is in the description. It's not in all the descriptions, but it's in some of the descriptions to the 5 parts. Christian Apologist Anthony Rogers versus Vocab Malone acting as Islamic apologist Jamar Sadat. Look, it says it in all caps. A simulated debate for training purposes. Now, it's so funny. If you watch Dante 400 Year Fortson's video where he's watching this, here's what's so fascinating about it. All right. In the tags, because the tags are on the screen and when he's playing it, in the very tags themselves, one of the tags is simulated debate, meaning the evidence is all right there for him to see. All right, so let's check the rest of this, and I'm going to bring Anthony on. Anthony, I know you're there. I'm going to call you on Skype right now, and we're going to be muted, but I'm going to play this for everybody in the meantime.
In my humble opinion, a little more advanced than a lot of Islamic apologists actually go. By getting into textual variants in a significant way without kind of just throwing them around as a fact, without really getting into them. That's an example, I think.
So notice I'm trying to explain to everybody what exactly I was doing there. So I had just done the training as a Muslim and now explaining to everybody what I did.
The thing is that the Quran, despite the fact that Islamic apologists will always say that it's unvarnished and untarnished, it is not true that it has a pure textual record. It has a worse textual record than the Bible for a number of reasons. One is the earliest copies were all burnt by Uthman, so our first copies of the Quran are not the earliest copies because Uthman burnt them all. Now, why would Uthman need to burn them all if they all said the same thing as the ones he possessed after he made master copies? It would only stand to reason he burnt them because they did not say the same thing as the copies that he held on to from that point on. So there was a centralized control in early Islamic history because of the number of variations. Now we just don't know what's there. That's a real issue. Further, textual criticism in Christianity is much further developed because we allow people to have access to these. Not so with the Quran. It's all hidden, it's tucked away. Guys have to sneak in and sneak out photographs under pain of death and all kinds of other stuff because it's not open. So it's not a highly developed field yet because of the nature of Islam. And not only are they not allowed to question the veracity of the Quran in Islam, it's actually a sin punishable by death if someone was to be able to discern that you were thinking about it not being accurate. So
notice I'm now at the end of the video giving a critique to some of my own presentation. So I just want to play this a little bit more because this is so painfully obvious. The whole last part of the video is like this.
The nature of Islamic dogma prevents any kind of real scholarship in this area. And so the Islam can kind of point out these, the Muslim opponent can kind of point out these things, but it's...
I'll tell you, I'm going to pause that. We can play that more later. But now what I want to do is I'm going to bring up our brother here in a second here. Who's our brother? Our brother is, of course, the one and only Anthony Rogers. Just a second here, brother. What I want to do is I need to reset again for everybody so you can see what's going on. Faithful to God and I did something where we talked about the 400 years failed prophecy recently by a lot of independent, moderate type Hebrew Israelites. And it seems like Dante Fortson basically fell into that category. And he's been, as the Brits say, smarting ever since. Look up that terminology. It's slang if you don't know it. He's been smarting ever since. But his response is to not really deal with it in any meaningful way. His response is to try to dig up dirt in an event that he calls D-Day 2020. And he's got this series of videos where he puts a bunch of covered wolves on the covers of the videos. And look how they're titled. Vocab Malone invites Christians to join Allah. And then he takes a 1-minute clip from the debate we've been watching that I did with Anthony. It's just, I'm sorry. No one's going to go to hashtag 2020, by the way. And here's me in character.
I want to thank my friend apologist, Mr. Rogers, for his presentation this morning.
I love to keep on saying that during the debate, by the way. I thought it was real funny to keep on saying Mr. Rogers, you know. But watch, I'm just showing you one example of these little videos he's done.
And continue to faithfully represent Islam, the straight path, and invite the Christians in the audience to come join Allah. And you will be pleased because He is most merciful.
All right, so that's the video. And then he ends it with 2 Peter 2:1. But there were false prophets also among the people. So notice, false prophet. So he can say it to us, but we can't say it about him. This guy is just, it's so embarrassing. Even as there shall be false teachers among you. Ironically, the promoter of the video qualifies as both. Who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. So that's a sum total, and he has a whole series like this, Dante 400 Years Fortson, on his YouTube page. Vocab Malone rejects the deity of Christ. Vocab Malone calls the Quran the guardian over the Bible, because that's what Muslims say. Vocab Malone affirms the oneness of Allah. Vocab Malone rejects belief in the Trinity. Oh, let me just pause that part there. That's all right. Vocab Malone humbly invites all Christians to join Islam. So notice it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 6 or 7 videos, and that's just from that. Watch this. If you go on this guy's channel and you put in my name, it's like, bro, what's up? It's extensive, and if you add with that your urban apologetics, it's even more extensive. Which how much stuff where he talks about all this stuff comes up. I mean, look at our upcoming Cyber City. There's the one I was talking about earlier. Conference. He calls our upcoming Cyber City Apologetics Conference an anti-black online hate rally. Do you hear that? I mean, this is the way this dude is rolling. So it's clear he's hurting. Here's the most recent video. We might get into this last. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we need to talk to my one-time debate opponent, Mr. Anthony Rogers. Welcome to Street Apologist. How you doing, bro?
Hey. I'm doing good.
Anthony, do you remember 6 years ago on that fateful day when you and I debated each other? You remember that day?
I do. You were the stand-in. You didn't mention the Muslim apologist. You were the stand-in for Edisham Ghulam.
Yeah, I knew someone canceled, but I forgot who it was. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, the funny backstory is, and you probably are familiar with Edisham Ghulam's introduction into apologetics when James White was supposed to debate another Muslim that canceled, and then Edisham Ghulam in the crowd sort of stood up and offered to take his spot. And then, it was such a miserable performance that James White was upset with George afterwards because it was just a train wreck, right? Edisham Ghulam didn't know what he was talking about. Well, Edisham had supposedly refined his approach and was ready to debate, and I was going to debate him, but his mom told him he couldn't. so he had
Can you say that? Can you say that one more time again, though?
His mom told him he couldn't debate, and Edisham had apparently some quirks, and various people in the Muslim community were trying to rein him in. They didn't particularly like his efforts, his exploits to defend Islam, and I guess in this particular case, his mother had to, rein him in.
Pretty interesting, right? All right, guys, I'm trying to show your picture. I'm having trouble showing it. Let me, man, I'm gonna have to share a screen instead. It looks like to get you in here because it is giving me some problems here. So I'm gonna switch over, and I'm gonna have to do share screen instead of the way I want to, which is bringing it in organically. But once I could do it. Okay, so you can be heard, by the way, but I'm just working on getting you seen here, brother. All right, so Anthony, there was a cancellation because I'm sorry, that's hilarious. His mom said that he wasn't allowed, and so at kind of at the last second, George had invited me to do this instead, and I don't think you and I had ever personally met until then.
Right, and I although I was working during the start of the broadcast, I was able to dip in a little bit and hear a couple of snippets, and I heard you mention that you had to sort of, on the fly, prepare a bunch of stuff, and it actually changed things for me because anybody who does debates, and you'd know this, you know that you not only want to prepare a good case, but you also want it to be relevant to the person you're speaking to. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if I'm going to debate somebody like Shabir Ali, I want to take into account the sorts of things that he brings up, and I'm going to want to, craft things in a way that they're going to be particularly poignant with respect to the sorts of challenges he'll bring up. And so I was preparing. Now, Edisham wasn't a formidable opponent, but at the time, what was popular among Muslims was a particular kind of argumentation popularized by people like Shabir Ali and Paul Williams, who no longer debates. And so the debate approach that I was going to take actually was crafted for that sort of thing. And so, and not that it wasn't relevant in our debate, but I remember at the time I'm thinking, I'm going to make this argument, and while you're going to try and be faithful representing Islam, you're not necessarily going to take this particular approach that had become popular, right, because in the nature of the case, if it's popular, it's also faddish, right? It's also going to go out of style, and so you were really employing, I think, an approach that would be more standard, right, over time, as opposed to in a particular pocket of time.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't. I guess I wasn't keeping up with all the Muslim fads. But yeah, so that was a very interesting time. But I do think, if I'm not mistaken, that was our first time meeting, right? We had never met before that, had we, as far as in person?
I don't think so, but I also have, for some reason, I think I might be conflating more than one event, because I seem to have recalled this taking place in Arizona. I thought it was at the Arabic Baptist
Yeah,
Church,
no, no, it was. I was earlier. I was telling people about the one I did in L.A. versus another guy. This wasn't that. It was at the Arabic Baptist Church. That is where we were. You were right about that.
And I'll tell you a funny story. The reason I was thinking this is because I had a beard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I had a beard is at that time I lived in Las Vegas, and I was out of work on a vacation, and so I had just stopped shaving, and I also thought, hey, it'd be kind of cool, since I'm going to debate a Muslim, I'll debunk the beard argument. Anybody who's interacted with Muslims know that this isn't a joke. A lot of Muslims will simply discount a person's argument if they don't have sufficient growth on the chin. So I was somewhat sarcastically, sporting the beard. But what was funny is we went to the Arab festival there in Arizona,
mm-hmm.
and at one point I was with I don't know where you were at the time. You were somewhere else, but we were going to the Arab festival. George said, hey, there's a couple of Arab Jehovah's Witnesses here at this table.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. They had that little booth, right?
Yeah, so this is what's funny. So I actually have a picture here of it. I don't know if people will be able to see it, but these are the Jehovah's Witnesses. Somebody took their picture while we were talking to them, and they're basically putting their hands up, telling us to go away.
Yeah, I remember that because you came over and said, "Look what just happened." It was like kind of like an epic moment.
Yeah. So here's the funny part. So what happened was this is an Arab festival, so in the nature of the case, it'd be predominantly Muslim, but it wasn't exclusively Muslim, right? There are Arab Christians, there are Arab Jehovah's Witnesses, and so we went up to this table and we were talking to these guys, and one of the guys got up because they were in a huff. They didn't want us talking with them anymore. They were trying to stop the discussion. And, in those situations, I'm always a bulldog. I'm thinking, you guys are here proselytizing. Don't tell me to go away unless, you're going to pack up shop and leave, So anyways, They left, and they brought this security guy over, and I'm in the zone, right? I'm talking with them. I'm trying to get at certain arguments, make certain points. And this guy comes to my side, and he's trying to, I guess, get it to stop. And I said, I said, these guys are lying. And what I was referring to is we didn't do anything wrong, right? They're lying if we did something wrong. But all I said was these guys are lying, and I started making the rest of my argument. Well, this guy reaches his hand out, and he shakes my hand, and he goes, I know, brother, carry on, or something like that.
Yeah. Because he thought you were a Muslim.
And so I was laughing later because it occurred to me, this guy thought I was a Muslim. And so he thought I was arguing with these Jehovah's Witnesses because I was defending Islam. So I guess this is somewhat ironic given the context in which I'm telling the story, where somebody's accusing you of being a Muslim, right? Because this is what happened on that particular occasion. Somebody else was accusing me of being a Muslim. Well, not accusing, but case of mistaken identity.
Yeah. Aren't you that Egyptian?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that was when we had some fun times, man. Those were good. Those were definitely good times. The whole, event together. And that was.
Oh, and you had your fro back then.
I was Frocab. Yes, I was.
Yeah. I have that picture.
Oh, go ahead. You got some pictures, bro?
Well, I don't know if it's right here. I know I have it somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to be able to find it in any kind of I'm not going to be able to find it in time. But it's a picture of me, you, Sam, Louis Lionheart, and I don't remember who else.
Is that the picture in the tent? Because I know that if that... Is that the picture in the tent that has the acronym with it?
CIA?
Yeah. I always imagine if people like, oh wait, what? Anyways.
Oh, I didn't realize you were probably.
Yeah.
But yeah. I have one. I know I have one with Sam in that picture, and I always thought it's funny. That's on my Facebook page. But I thought it's funny because it says intelligence, and here I am with the Assyrian Encyclopedia. So I don't recall. We all got a picture in there. I think probably different people did.
Yeah.
Pairs, but no, we were all outside at one point, and I know because I remember the background of the picture. We were all outside.
Hey, real quick, can I get? It's kind of weird the way the screen's set up. You see your lazy boy chair? Can you move your chair at all in front of the dark lazy boy chair? Because that'll make the screen better. It's kind of weird the way it's aligned. Yeah. That's better. Perfect. There you go.
That's good.
I'll make sure people see your all you and all of your Sicilian glory. So hey, Sicilians can sometimes look Middle Eastern, can't they?
Oh yeah, my grandfather was really dark, and for whatever reason, I have a lot of Italian features. A lot of people see me and they think I'm Italian, but my complexion isn't dark. Now the video doesn't do it justice. Here I'm darker than that crazy white.
Yeah.
But he was really dark, and in fact, and you know this, so Sicilians are to the south of Italy.
We're
down.
Yeah, the tip of the boot is kicking us.
Right. So northern Italians tend to be lighter, and Neapolitan, other Italians, and southern Italians or Sicilians are darker. So much so that the slur word for Sicilians on the part of northern Italians is the same word that they use to refer to black people.
I'm talking about moulignon.
Yeah, eggplant or whatever. And although I will say there is probably some Arab blood in Sicilians, because at one point Muslims, just like they ravaged other parts of the world, they at one point had conquered Sicily. And I always jokingly say, there's a good possibility that the Mafia, for which Sicilians are famous for, got some of its inspiration or stimulus from Islam. You have the Don, who's the equivalent of Muhammad, right? You don't cross the Don; he's the boss, and it's blood in, blood out. You don't leave the mob. Apostasy laws, right? There's also the protection racket.
So you pay me to be protected. Well, what am I being protected from? From me.
Right. It's you're providing the service that you're paying them for, right? I mean, you're creating the scenario where they need the service.
Yeah. You got a nice place here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. So yeah, man. I mean, we're Sicilian, like a lot of Italians in America are more Sicilian or Southern, sometimes Calabrese, sometimes, Napolitano. Every now and then you'll meet someone from Northern Italian blood, but yeah, they a lot of times look almost Germanic or Austrian. A lot of times, they're up there bordering the Alps. It's kind of like a different type of thing. And there's a funny little thing in The Sopranos where one of the characters comes over from Sicily directly, and in it, they're talking about celebrating Christopher Columbus today because, a lot of Italians look at as like Italian Heritage Day, and the character he spits on the ground in regards to Columbus, and he's like, what? He's like, he's from the north. There's still that kind of thing there. They think they're better than us. Anyway, so with all that being said, so we were two Sicilians up there debating, both Christians, both Reformed, and my job was to play the role of Muslim for training. Now, doesn't George do these? He's done a lot of these training debates before, right? I wasn't the first or last one. Like, I don't know if you know the other ones, but George is always doing trainings,
I did one with Sam, and actually did it in California at a Calvary Chapel. It was the one on the harbor. Oh, okay. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the first time I did any kind of formal debate. Even though it was a mock debate, Sam wasn't really a Muslim. And in fact, it was the same kind of thing where I didn't particularly like the scenario because I had prepared to do a debate against a Muslim, taking into account how Muslims were arguing at the time. And since Sam was filling in, what ended up happening was Sam basically was arguing like a Jehovah's Witness, right? Not that Muslims don't ever use Jehovah's Witness arguments, but it was just the whole dynamic of it was different. And so, I had to sort of switch game plans a bit. So yeah, George actually still has that debate, but he never released it. It was just, it was for the people that were there and whoever he shares it with now, I guess. I don't know what he does with it.
Yeah, so like, that's a common thing. I thought the training debates were cool. I thought they could be helpful. I thought they were interesting. So that's funny. I didn't know you did one where you debated Sam. So Sam like played a shake.
Yeah, but he didn't do like the Halal Hogan thing. He didn't get into full character like you did.
The hikmah, yeah. In Islamicizing, remember he kept on doing the wisdom of Allah. He kept on going the hikmah of Allah. It's so funny.
Yeah. So he just basically was just arguing, just in a sense, in character, out of character, right? He was being just what you'd think of Sam when he's typically arguing, and he didn't hold anything back. I mean, he was letting everything go, and it was good. I appreciated it. As somebody that likes to debate and debate now, it was good training, right? I mean, it makes you sharp. It helps you to think on your feet. There's just a lot of good reasons for it. And of course, it's instructing other people. So,
what do you think of Dante 400 Years Fortson's claim that I actually am a secret Muslim and not only that, an undercover Arab?
Yeah, I mean, it shows a lot of desperation, obviously. One thing I was thinking about is, the guy obviously put in a lot of work.
Right, yeah.
Looking at your material, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking he's definitely. It suggests a number of things. Number one, it suggests that you're somebody worth his time, right? He thinks that you're somebody to be reckoned with, and since it doesn't look good that he actually didn't know, that you were only playing a role. It suggests that he also doesn't believe that you can simply be dealt with through a straight-up attack, right, by refuting you and proving his particular doctrines over against what you're advocating. So that's one thing that stood out to me. But also, he put in that much work to find that, which also suggests that he, there's just not a high likelihood that he didn't also see the evidence that this was a mock debate, right? He had to see those things. In fact, he's selecting clips out of the debate. And so he's finding what he thinks is relevant for, his smear campaign. And so if he's scrutinizing it that much, he couldn't have missed the other elements of this that clearly, tell against the idea, right? The narrative that he wants to play.
He's trying to play it both ways. Go ahead.
Right. A third thing that it caused me to think of is Jesus' statement in Matthew 23 with respect to the Pharisees, when he said, "You travel over land and sea to make a single convert, but then when you do so, you make him twice as much a son of hell as you are." And what he's talking about there is that the Pharisees had a great zeal for their religion, but they weren't in the end accomplishing a good end, right? They're only converting people to their own perverse understanding of the truth. And when I see this sort of thing, I'm just thinking, here's a guy that's put in a lot of effort. He knows that what he's doing isn't right. I mean, I'm not going to speak with 100% certainty. There's a possibility he completely overlooked it, but I just don't find that overly plausible. So just in terms of probabilities here, it seems to me that he put a lot of effort to undermine what you're doing, and he knew better.
Yeah, he tried to play it both ways, Anthony. He's like saying, well, I think this is actually secretly, an appeal to get people to join Islam, because if you don't catch all the parts, then, you won't see that supposedly a training debate, and it's like their cover. It's cover that they're saying, this is their thing. So he he's went from saying maybe I was a former or ex-Muslim to in his video today saying, is Vocab a Muslim? Most certainly yes. I believe he's part of Chrislam, and because he also said I'm a Christian. And then he said it's almost certain that I'm COINTELPRO as well. All from this. And he's showing all these clips, all this stuff. And it's like, wow, this is amazing. I was like, I got to get Anthony on and talk about this because he was the person, I was a baby. So we've known each other at least 6 years. I think I've known of you longer, but at least 6 years, man. And, we've been doing stuff ever since then. And a lot of stuff dealing with, mainly you and I have dealt with Islam and atheism together. The apologetic stuff we've done together.
And in fact, as I recall, and I know you were active even before that, because one of my, if it had to be that occasion, you gave me at that time a thumb drive that contained, I don't know if you remember those days, because I think you were handing those out.
Yeah.
And the thumb drive had all sorts of information critiquing Islam, helping people witness to Muslims, even some videos. This was, back before you were doing a lot of YouTube stuff. So the thing that you handed me contained stuff that you were doing prior to my being introduced to you. So
that was from I'm trying to see if I have the flyer for it. I don't think I do. But that was for one of we actually did a thing called the Street Apologist Conference. And it was like in the white case that had the sticker on it. And this thumb drive was like silver and black, like you flip it out like that. Yeah, and it had all this stuff mainly dealing with Islam, some stuff dealing with Mormonism. Yeah, I do remember that. And so, that's the perfect example. That was there. And, it's just bizarre. It's so
I even remember you had me at that time, or not at that time, but because of that time, you had me come out to the church that you were at. Remember that? And I spoke there several times, and I know you had been there for a long time.
That video's on my channel.
Yeah.
I think it's Is Jesus God or something like that. You give a defense for the deity of Christ. And that video's on the channel. It's a pretty good little video. You did a good job. That was in that back room there. And check this out. So he's saying, not only he actually uses the term Islamic or Muslim plant. He literally uses that phrase. Not only that, saying secretly, it's most likely I'm Arabic. Now look, if I was Arabic, I would be glad and proud. If I was Jewish, I'd be glad and proud, and I would be okay to talk about it. But I'm not, Sicilian over here, German over here, so it is what it is. That's the basic breakdown, right? So, hey. So, with that being said, here's the most wild thing I heard on the video, Anthony. This man said, it's my personal opinion. So, this is Dante 400 Years Fortson. It's my personal opinion. He said that today in this video. That the Arabic church is a sleeper cell. As an Islamic terrorist cell.
The church we debated at?
Yeah, the First Arabic Baptist Church. He said, it's my opinion that it's a sleeper cell.
Yeah, I mean, one of the problems whenever you get any of these conspiracy guys is it doesn't matter what somebody says. It just becomes part of the conspiracy, right? If I say, that's outlandish, I know the pastor personally, I've stayed at his house.
Did you really? Hold on, did you really? You stayed at Jamal's house?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've stayed at his house.
He's born in Israel, so he's Arabic, born in Israel, and a Christian from the Middle East.
Yeah, and I debated Andrew Livingston there at that church.
I remember that.
Other things have happened there. I mean, that's just crazy. But, what I'm saying about conspiracy theories is once somebody gets into that web or that circle, then everything just gets thrown into it. So in other words, I must be part of the conspiracy too, right? What's my testimony count for?
Right.
It reminds me, the other day I saw there was this guy on one of our videos on Acts 17 where this guy said that we are part of the Illuminati, right? And anything you say to somebody from that mindset is just feeding. It's just more fuel to the fire, right? Any denials I make is just, well, that's just what an Illuminati person would say, right?
Right.
So what I said, just to turn the tables, was I said, what this guy's doing shows that he must be part of the Illuminati, and they hate this, right? he must be part of the Illuminati, because notice what he's doing. He's suggesting that the Illuminati is so big and so powerful that it's got its tentacles into everything, even this channel, which is, promoting Christianity and refuting Islam and other things. We don't only deal with Islam, although it's a primary focus.
Right.
But he's trying to make himself appear credible by saying he's not an Illuminati person, but at the same time he's giving credence and blowing up in people's mind the idea of the Illuminati, so they think it's this mammoth thing, right? And so you better become part of it, or else you're going to be steamrolled over too. Anyways, I don't know if you're tracking my train of thought.
Yeah, say he's part of the Illuminati. Yeah, he's just turning.
Yeah, and of course, I don't really think he's part of the Illuminati. I just think that, I realize how conspiracy theorists work. Doesn't matter what you say to them, they're always just going to, discount what you say, because in their minds you're already part of this organization, and so you just play their own game on them. Right now, how are they going to refute you? Anything he says now, I'm going to do the same thing with him. I'm going to just say, well, that's just what I would expect from somebody who's part of the Illuminati.
Yeah, and so that's kind of how it is. I mean, it's really mind-boggling. So though, about the First Arabic Baptist Church. Jamar, and a number of the other Christians. You got Syrians, you have Assyrians, you have Iraqis there. I don't think at the church at the time, but you have in those kind of circles Egyptian brothers and sisters as well, Palestinians, Jordanians, some Lebanese. I'm trying to think who else I know for sure. Those are the main kind of background, folks that I know, and some of them. You've stayed at the pastor's house of First Arabic Baptist Church, and for this man to suggest that it's a cell, he's saying it's a sleeper terrorist cell, because he said, what better cover to use if you're a Muslim terrorist than that of being a Christian from the Middle East? These folks, have family who have been persecuted and in some cases even killed by Muslims in the Middle East. And here you got a guy saying they're a sleeper terroristic cell. We try to keep the humor element because it's clearly bizarre, nuts, desperate, but it's also actually extremely offensive and racist, to be honest. All Middle Easterners must actually be terrorists undercover. I mean, why would you say that about just because they're Middle Eastern based, just because they speak Arabic? What in the world is this? Like, to say that is really offensive, gross, disgusting, and obviously there's no foundation for it either. This is a church that's been doing outreach year after year after year. George Saig has worked with them. I mean, this is bizarre stuff to say something like that. But it's all in the video. You guys can watch it. It's a video today that he put out. If you want to watch 45 minutes of pure insanity, watch it. And what's so sad is if you look at the comments, it's all these Hebrew Israelites agreeing. Like nonstop. That's bizarre, like there's no check or balance, there's no look into it, anything like that. So it's like, oh wow, man, good. Oh wow. Well, Anthony, any final things, man? I wanted to bring you in because you're an eyewitness. You were there. You know what's up. We've known each other for a while. You understand the training, all that. You know the Arabic Church. You know Pastor Jamar. You know George. What?
One thing I would say, real quickly, is if you're a plant, you're doing too good of a job. In other words, it wouldn't make sense for a person. It's sort of like people who say that Paul hated Christianity. He's a Jewish guy, hated Christianity, and so decided to become the apostle to the Gentiles in order that he might corrupt and subvert Christianity and so forth. But Paul was so good at what he did that he ended up converting masses of people. And that's clearly contrary to what his real agenda would be if he was trying to maintain Judaism and undermine Christianity. In other words, it's possible for somebody to pretend to be something, but for them to do it so well that they end up undermining what it is they're ultimately after. That just doesn't make any sense. And so for you to be doing things like the Boom Boom Room and Islamicize Me, all those sorts of things, that are clearly doing damage to Islam. A kingdom divided against itself can't stand, Jesus said. When you look at David's videos where he's talking about Muslims announcing their departure from Islam, and he even mentioned recently that he stopped making those videos. There's just so many comments to that effect. At some point, even a sleeper, I think, is going to say, wait a minute, this has gotten out of control, right?
It turns into a whole Donnie Brasco situation.
Yeah. So I mean, that was one thing that was on my mind. One other quick aside: you couldn't remember the Muslim's name from Australia. It was Abdullah Kundi, I think.
Yes, that is. Thank you very much, Abdullah. That is kind of the closest model that was in the back of my mind at the time.
Yeah, and I will say you had mentioned that you had the Shabir Ali style in mind, Abdullah Kundi.
Yeah.
But one caveat, I don't know if you mentioned part of it is because of their calm, cool, collected style, their scholarly approach. That has been pretty true to form for Shabir Ali over the years. However, I don't know if you saw his recent debate with James White, but in that debate, he was engaging in a bit of mockery, and it's not that we don't think that there's a place for that, but I think it was different for Shabir. This isn't something that I've normally seen from him.
I saw that highlighted. But I actually haven't watched it. Like, I saw there's a video. I think Sam or somebody was putting out talking about it, but I haven't actually seen it, so I'll check that out.
Yeah. So I mean, I just found that interesting because that's not standard Shabir. It hasn't been, and I kind of wonder if, maybe that reflects something that's going to become a new thing for him or not. I don't know, because it since the hijab debate, at least, I think some Muslims might think that approach is a good approach,
right?
Just because some people will buy into the antics, right?
Yep.
Now, the one thing I say, so I mean, in the case of like David versus hijab, David is just such a rigorously logical individual that sort of thing doesn't, you're not going to get David animated like that, right? Because David's just a logical machine, right? But that sort of thing, might in some contexts be influential to Muslims, but there's a proverb that says, "Don't mock a mocker," right? That sort of thing runs into a problem as soon as you get another person who knows how to play that game too. And
right.
and I don't think you'll get that kind of a response from James White, because he's not like that either, right? He's not satirical. Oh, and I should qualify when I talk about David being just this logical machine. David obviously is the king of sarcasm, but I mean, he's not going to get he's not going to start yelling and dancing around or doing anything like that, right? No theatrics are going to be part of it.
Yeah. No, good point, man. Well, hey, man, thank you, Anthony. And I'm gonna look for this right now and see if I've still got this. You remember I made a little song for us. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna play that for your outro. I'm gonna see if I still have got that. I thought I did. Oh, where'd it go? Oh man. Well, I'm gonna have to drop you off to find it, but I'm gonna drop you and I'm gonna look for it. All right, and it'll be in your honor.
Alrighty. Goodbye, all.
Hey, thank you.
Sorry
man.
I didn't get to keep up with the comments. So anybody who said hello from me, and I'll see you all again sometime, somewhere.
All right, no
God
doubt,
bless.
man. God bless. Peace out, man. Yeah. So now we've heard from Mr. Anthony Rogers, and man, I'm having trouble finding where. There's something I need to show you guys, but I'm not able to show you. So, okay, well, that's frustrating. All right, so there was something else I wanted to cover. There's something else I was trying to cover with this, and I'm having trouble remembering. Darn it, what was it? Oh man, there's something else I need to cover, guys. Man, I can't remember. It is passed out of my head. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's finish this because I can't find our outro music, unfortunately, that I was looking for, and I can't remember there was something else I was gonna hit. Let's look real quick at this video one last time. I want to show you what this guy says because it's utterly ridiculous. Notice it's called Vocab Malone, Muslim Agent or Christian Apologist. And he actually says that I'm a Muslim. He does it twice. Let me play this for you guys right here so you can see this. All right. I think this is important for everybody to see here. Why is it doing that? Oh, you guys can't hear it, can you? Hold on, we're winding down, guys. I just wanted to show this one last thing, everybody. This one last thing, okay? I'll turn up the sound.
They, Vocab and Mike, whatever his name, Pike Pereira, or whatever, however you say his last name, Faithful to God. They have lied and put out their video saying that I promoted a false prophecy without context. They do not want to tell their people Dante shared Pastor Omar's video once. They don't want to tell you that my book came out 4 months after I shared the video in which I published my written personal position on the subject.
Notice how all this has to do with the 400-year prophecy. That's really clearly what's driving him as far as why he's resorting to these tactics. You know, it is what it is. I'm going to speed it up to 1.5
They don't want to give you that context or timeline. And now that their videos are up, I want you guys to see it. They can't go back and deny it. They can't deny that their entire attack on me was defamation of character from beginning to end. Even that picture that Faithful to God used saying I'm a false prophet, I didn't make any prophecy. So by definition, I'm not a false prophet since I've never made any false prophecy. But see, it's all about slander and libel and defamation of character with UA, which is why they don't attack the actual evidence. They attack the people. So one of the things that has been tossed around on this side is a lawsuit against Faithful to God because we do have him on defamation of character. He intentionally called me a false prophet with the intent to damage my reputation, and he knew
Seriously? This guy's saying I train Muslims terrorists, you know? And he's like talking about he's going to sue somebody. So let's see if I got it right here.
Alone of his entire argument against Christianity from a Muslim perspective, and 3 times invited Christians to leave Christianity and join Islam. 1 time he refers to Christianity as excess and a sin. So now a person coming in, because you guys know how videos work. If you post a video on YouTube, there's a chance somebody finds part 2 before they find part 1. But we'll come back to that. Is Vocab a Muslim? I'm going to touch on that because I believe he is a Muslim. I believe he actually practices what's called Chrislam. Because he spent a lot of time in the Muslim community. He spent a whole lot of time. He wasn't even an urban apologist a few years ago. I dug that up as well. I'm going to show you guys that. He had nothing to do with black people or black apologetics. This is something new. I believe.
Now again, notice he found this video at Urban Theologian on Vimeo. Okay? That's where he found this, everybody. Notice that. And notice that the blog mentioned was Street Apologist, and yet this dude's saying nothing to do with it. What's he talking about?
I believe he was recruited after the attempted mass shooting from the Muslim guy he knew, and I'll talk about that a little bit. Is Vocab a Christian? I believe
he says I got recruited. And that I joined. This is bizarre.
Yeah, I believe he might be, in a sense. I believe he practices Chrislam based on several. Faithful to God did to me not be trusted since. I believe he practices Chrislam based on trolling Israelites. Most definitely he's trolling Israelites. And is Vocab a Christian? I believe he might be, in a sense. I believe he practices Chrislam based on several things. Is Vocab COINTELPRO? I am almost sure he is a COINTELPRO agent. And I'm going to talk about that too.
How can you be an Islamic terrorist, or at least an Islamic terrorist sympathizer, and COINTELPRO? How can you be both? It's like cognitive dissonance.
As we go throughout some of the stuff I discovered. So is Vocab just trolling Israelites? Most definitely he's trolling the UA movement, specifically Vocab.
Now notice.
Faithful to God is just like a little chihuahua. He's over.
Look at this. Notice this. Look at the tag. Simulated debate. It's on his screen. It literally says simulated debate. I'm playing his screen from his video today. And it says right there, simulated debate training. You guys see this? It's even in the tags. So he talks about this. He goes into the article dealing with Elton Simpson. He's totally mistaken. He just doesn't know what he's talking about. He claims that in this video that Elton Simpson is present. Elton Simpson is not present in any of these videos. It's a very short video. But there's two things he has on. He says, there's Elton. That's not Elton. Elton is not in this video. And it's just, it's so strange. So Elton, the terrorist, was not in this video at all. So he's wrong about that. He's saying that the guy who wrote the article, some guy named Ashcraft, is the one on the camera. It's not. I know who the camera guy is. He doesn't want to be named, but it's not. And he's not from a secret spot. He's out in the open. So he's just wrong about everything. And there's that. So he draws all these wacky conclusions. I mean, look at all this work. It's like he still can't get it right. Now he goes to the website. This is Pastor Jamar. And he says they're like a sleeper cell. Let's see if I can catch the clip where he says
saints and evangelizing the lost. But get down to here. Let's see. For at least 6 months. These are just questions that pop up. Why does the name John Mark Reiser sound like it's fake? So then I look at Vocab's videos a while back. Actually, this video, I will tell you, I guarantee they're a predominantly white audience, and leave Christianity and join Islam. Familiar with Islam without an outreach tool. This is a parody tool. He's not going to take this to the Israelites and show them first and say, hey, look at this video I made about you guys, and let me preach Jesus. This dude is a clown. He's not real. Whatever's going on with Vocab, I think he's fake. So here's my opinion about everything. Is Vocab a Muslim? Very likely. Is Vocab a Christian? Very likely. I believe he's probably practicing something called Chrislam or something similar to it. You don't become that familiar with Islam without some of it leaking over into your personal belief. You don't.
It's so funny that he thinks that way. That shows these guys don't really understand how you do apologetics. They don't understand how to debate. Because what you're supposed to learn the other position inside and out. It's so excellent that he's exposing the way he thinks about things.
Constantly have contact with Muslims and not some of it not leak over into your belief. This dude tried to recruit Vocab for 6 months, and then Vocab leaves his church and ends up at an Arab church, which I believe may be a sleeper cell cover. Personal opinion.
Do you hear that? The Arab church is a sleeper cell. So everything we said today is in this video. You could go through and watch it. I'm just not even like going through and looking at it. You know what I mean?
Now he's using the church as a platform to attack black people who claim to be Israelites. So as Vocab COINTELPRO, very likely. This is everything that he does exhibits COINTELPRO activity, and I broke that down for you guys in several videos. Is Vocab just trolling Israelites? Most definitely he's trolling Israelites. That's how he gets his views. Without.
Well, wait. These are counterproductive goals. Trolling Israelites, COINTELPRO, those are two different things, right? Christian...
Us, he wouldn't be getting any views. He'd have some white dude hiding in the car filming him passing out literature to Muslims silently, like he was doing in his video.
The white dude on the camera was not in a car. He was on the street. This guy acts like he was there. He acts like he was there when we were doing the mosque evangelism.
Can Vocab Malone be trusted? Definitely not. I don't trust anything. I don't trust that was a training video, in my opinion. I believe that was a recruitment video, which is why the 16-minute segment that I got the clips from was separated out from the rest of it. It was
He believes it was a recruitment video. This dude is straight up saying that these debates I did are actually to recruit people to join Islam. I'm sorry. This is utterly unbelievable. This is, do you guys see this? This is what we've got to deal with when we deal with Hebrew Israelites. And everybody, let me explain to you. This guy did a 43-minute video on this, all like this. Slideshows, pictures, everything, right? This dude writes books. This dude runs a big website. This dude's on Patreon, all of that, right? This guy says he's cool with Michael Heiser, he says. He's not a one-wester. He's not a camper out on the corner. He's supposed to be a moderate. He's supposed to be a legit apologist. And this is what we're dealing with.
And alone, which means if you ran across it, all it was a recruitment tool for Islam. If you don't go back and find video 1 where he goes through the explanation at the very beginning that he's playing a character.
Or in video 4 or video 5, as we've demonstrated, Dante 400 years Fortson. Do your research, fam.
The rest of it looks like a recruitment video because it's chopped up into pieces on Vimeo. It's not in single pieces like on YouTube. And he chopped these pieces up himself deliberately in a way that you get...
That's because Vimeo only allowed you to upload a certain amount of size based upon the file. That's why, dude. This is so bizarre.
The whole Muslim argument together, but you don't get the Christian argument in its entirety. This is all deliberate, in my opinion. So is UA a hate group? I believe most definitely a hate group, because
he is saying Urban Apologetics, which is not an organization, it's just the name of a discipline, is a hate group.
As you can see, they treat white Christians with a different level of respect than they treat black people who claim to be Israelite and Christian. To me, patreon.com/ about these guys, and dude did turn vocab, and I think now he's pretending to be a Christian.
Yeah. Listen to this. Hold on.
Hidden positions. For those of you who they have,
let's play this. Then check this out. The Vimeo stuff, Grey Wolf, is old. It's like from 6 years ago. Listen to this. Listen to what he says at the end. He says, they turned me.
Lied on. Trust me, you should pursue it. The more we can go with them and get it on record that they are lying, the better off it is for other black people down the road who encounter these liars and these fakes and these snakes with their secret names and hidden cameras from hidden positions, filming. These are not Christians. These are people posing as Christians. They are pretending to be Christians in order to infiltrate the community. And my final thought, I think, in my opinion, I think vocab is a Muslim plant. I think dude did turn vocab, and I think now he's pretending to be a Christian, full-on Christian, in a Christian church, so he can use the Christian church to attack Israel, because he's working with, out of his own mouth, Edomites, and the Edomites were against Israel, and he goes to an Edomite church, and this is according to him. The Arabs are Edomites. This is according to vocab. Go check the sources. Urban Apologetics Exposed Part 3. Check the source. The vocab says these people are Edomites, and now he's working with them against Israelites. This is not a coincidence. Y'all should not trust this dude. Y'all should be aware of this dude. And the black UA members, I don't know if there's too much hope for most of them. I know some of them have expressed concern about vocab after seeing some of the stuff that's coming out about him, such as him calling himself Mal One, malicious one, malevolent one.
Now that's why some of you guys are like, hey, what's going on? Why did vocab just spend enough time showing his graffiti art notebooks from when he was a tagger and a writer? That's why. Because I went by Mal One. I just showed you guys that. And what I did is I showed you that I've been tagging that for a hot minute. This dude has a conspiracy about the name Malone, which is a breakdown of Mal One as well. This is bizarre. It's almost the end, folks.
That's vocab. But anyway, that's it for today, guys. I got some stuff.
Oh, hey, somebody in here was cursing just now. Oh, Isaiah 92 knows about black books. Okay, Isaiah 92 knows what's up then. Shout out to you, Isaiah 92. Yeah, no doubt. You in LA? With the link up sometime when I come out there. Shout out to Benjamin for the super chat. I'm sorry, there's a couple super chats I missed, but I've enabled a new feature that I don't know if you guys noticed. But what it does is whenever somebody gives a super chat, it like puts it on the screen, right? So you guys see that, so you get your love. Grey Wolf, the Vimeo stuff was old. It's like from 6 years ago, Okay, now let's end with the freestyle. So bizarre. What do you guys think of this? So I'm not going to be able to go live Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm going to go live Thursday, and then I'm going to have a bunch of premieres. So pay attention to the channel. There's going to be a lot of premieres, and all the premieres, everybody, they deal with the upcoming Doctrine for the Block conference. All right, so with that, we do need to close with freestyle, and let me just find what new Jonathan Soko beat we're going to use. Let's see how this one sounds. Let's try this one. Let's see how this one is. I might do this one twice. Guys, break down the rules for the freestyle if you could. Let everyone know how it works. And then I'm going to go ahead and do it. Let's see how this joint sounds. Jonathan Soko on the track. Let's end, folks. Oh! Yeah! Yeah, ha ha ha! That's right, Soko! The dude sounds blunted. In case you wondered, he promoted the 400. False prophecy, no stopping thee. This dude playing the game like Monopoly. People out now on top of the beat. On top of the beat, rocking it without defeat. A Vocab Malone, I've been a freak in the black book. Take a look. I already showed you I used to be I'll twerk with the spray can. I used to spray the land. Vocab Sicilian, got a brown tan. I am that I am, the one that I serve. Vocab Malone, kick your whack to the curb. Especially Dante, in case you haven't heard. Listen, the dude kinda sounds like a nerd. That's my word, he goes through the bird. Peep this out now, I've observed that he's a conspiracy theorist. Hear this, yes indeed. I write mommy dearest to say come get your son, cause he's done. My name out one, doesn't mean evil one. It means catch a bad one, you could even say. That's from the graphic like back in the day. I used to spray with the can in my hand. Vocab Malone, peep this, I slam, I jam, I ran, I rack, I preach the gospel, I keep these facts like from Japan, call me Jackie Chan. Peep it out now, I serve the God man, Jesus the Christ, he's like that ram. Revelation calls him the one lamb who was slain. Vocab the name, Jamar is off the real hope that you came. Dante gotta be honest, you sound insane. And your arguments, kinda lame. It's like a drain brain watching the video. You search back in the day on video. But listen bro, you're kinda slow. And I say that in love, I mean it man. Like a weirdo. Alright, last freestyle and we're calling it a day. We like to end with little freestyle beats. This is the last one because that one's kind of short. It was dope though. And we're going to end the show like this. Alright, want that from the top of the head. Vocab Malone from the top of the dome. When I'm saying shalom from Phoenix, Arizona. Yo, I spit a poem, so once again it's on. Listen, some of y'all go home, and please need to study. Listen, homeboy, I could even call you buddy. You kinda like a squirrel, cause you kinda nutty all over the world. And now you're looking bloody, spiritually speaking. Cause I grabbed the beat in, then I was beaten. Unique and freaking all across the track. Bring in the saxophone in the back. Yeah, that's the horn. Now you've been warned. Listen up, man, you have been shorn. Hasta lasagna, hasta pasta. Now I rock this, call me Sinatra, but a rapper, looking dapper. Turn the beat off like a clapper. Go acapella, be a good fella. I'm not MC, yella never, but Sicilian. Now make a million, just kidding. Maybe it's souls I'm fueling. Yo, Judah Lion, stop being a chameleon. Dante, stop lying, you illin', you buggin'. But I still give you a huggin', my youngin'. Cause I know you needed that. Vocab Malone over ill boom back. I got the jack crack, it's all of that. Yes indeed, magic like a backpack. The day the three kings, they came from afar. Orientar with the gifts that were on par. Why? They saw the star. I'm in the car, I'm on the street. I'm rockin' to the funky beat. That's for the blocking, everywhere we be. Here we go again, now I will seek Jesus, seek the Christ. At the end, I give him my life. Turn off the mic, this is the end. Hey, what's up y'all? Turn it up to 10. Peace.